How do I get this started? Oh, there we go.
You just gotta click it there.
Oh, hi. We're on, aren't we?
Welcome back to the Silvercast gaming show
thingy.
Silver Lining Gamecast.
I for a second you forgot the name, didn't you?
I'm Steven.
I'm David.
And we sometimes talk about video games. We don't really talk about a silver lining on things, do we?
No, you're actually more positive than I am, so...
But I talk negative about everything. Like, I'll say this is a really great game, but here are some faults. Speaking of which, Mario Maker.
So you just want to jump right into that, don't you?
I'm just going to jump right into it.
I told you, Mario Maker needs at least 3 to 6 months of actual content.
No. There is tons of content there.
There is tons of content,
and good content, too. The problem is the scope of what you can actually make is so limited that...
You make Mario levels. Mario levels are not that complicated.
Well, the problem is there are lots of like little things you don't really think about that the other games added in that are just completely missing. So like you can make really solid Mario original games, just Super Mario Brothers, and you have pretty much everything there and more so. But when you get up to the other stages, if you wanted to make Mario World or Mario 2 or New Super Mario Brothers, you couldn't remake a lot of the original levels in those games, either because there's power-ups missing. That's one big thing. But there's also a lot of weird quirks, like there's no slopes in the game.
Okay, yeah.
That was a huge one that annoyed me, because a lot of my favorite levels, and the way like I would make a lot of my levels, if slopes were there, would be about that verticality. There's a lot of enemies that are missing. There are a fair amount of enemies there. You have like all the staples. There's Goombas, there's Koopas, there's Hammer Bros.
Did you call them Goombas?
Goombas. They are Koopas, except in the movie where they're just dinosaur things. We don't talk about the movie. But, like, there's some other enemies, like the football head guys from,
Yoshi's Island?
Yeah, those are not there. And then there are, like, little things like they have the Karibo shoe from Super Mario Brothers 3, which is a cool little thing. But if you've ever played that game, the Karibo shows up in one level. Just one. Out of all 8 worlds, it shows up once.
But it was big enough to make an impact.
Yeah, but like all the other things that were cut in lieu of that kind of seems a little...
Silver lining!
But beyond all of those concerns, Mario Maker is actually really fun. Both from a design perspective, like playing your games and, logging on and seeing somebody played your game, somebody beat your level, and all of that feels really great. And, having someone, give you a coin or a star saying like, oh, I really liked your level, feels really great. On the other side, there are a lot of just really terrible levels, and there are a lot of the same thing.
I told you.
It's something, obviously that we're expected. I've lost count of how many, like, auto Marios I bumped into where all you do is put the controller down and watch as the same thing you've seen 12 times happens. And there have been, like, some clever ones, like ones where you run and the level's designed in a way that it actually, like, makes music.
It's free running Mario.
Yep, so you just kind of run straight, and above you are all these little switches and levers, and enemies spawn like 16 frames away, so you can control that to make notes happen. And so, like, I've seen like all sorts of other game soundtracks be recreated, and those are always cool just to see like, oh, he made that. But as far as like really strong levels, those are not existent. And the other thing, people don't seem to know how to create normal difficulty levels, because all the ones I've seen are either super easy or
Casio level.
Yeah, batshit insane. And it's very rare I bump into one that's just like, oh, that was something I actually expect to see in a Mario game. And so I'm a little disappointed in that, but overall, I really like Mario Maker. Even those really hard levels, like grinding your teeth and just getting through it, like if you're into that kind of thing, it's amazing. And there are still enough levels that, you know, you can feel really excited when you bump into the normal difficulty. And the other thing, if you have friends or at least people you know on the internet loosely, sharing levels and trading levels and all of that collaboration, as you will, is actually super fun.
They should have done that in game, though. Is my problem.
Well, you can sort of do that via the Miiverse, but it's the Miiverse.
It is, for what it is extremely limited.
Yeah, it is.
If you have to go outside the game to a completely separate product to actually find the good levels, that you did something wrong.
But on the other hand, like, I've seen so many YouTube videos just pop out of nowhere. There's like, check out these really cool Mario Maker levels I found. And there's just so many of them and so many good levels. And like, when you bump into them, you do have this like instinctual urge that like, people need to know about this.
Because the game makes it so hard to find it.
Yeah, because like, when you go through like the top 50 like best games, like those have been locked since I turned on the game the first time. And there's not really like a decent tagging system. So like, if I wanted to make levels that were Super Mario 3 as opposed to regular Super Mario, there's no way to like choose other than like scrolling through like list of levels and hoping you find one. But it's overall a positive experience. It is a game, I think, if you have a Wii U, it's worth having in your collection. If you're not a huge Mario game player, or if
then why the fuck do you have a Wii U?
Yeah. That's sort of true. But if you're not huge on Mario, maybe you just, you know, got your Smash machine or whatever. Or if you're not really into the whole Minecraft-y making things bit of it, maybe wait for a price drop. But otherwise, it's a really solid title. I still would love to see like a patch or something addressing all of the missing things, checkpoints, enemies, slopes.
Mario games never really had checkpoints, though.
No, the later ones did. The original one and Super Mario 3, those ones didn't, but like New Super Mario Brothers and I think Yoshi's Island, they had checkpoints in them.
Wasn't Yoshi's Island before Super Mario Brothers 3?
No, because that was for the Super Nintendo, and Mario 3 is for the regular NES.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure I played them both.
Okay, because Super Mario Brothers 3, the one where you're talking about with all the soaps, that is my single most favorite of the Mario games.
Oh, no. I grew up on Super Mario Brothers 3. I could gush on that game for our entire video. So let's try not to get too into that, but you know, maybe sometime I will. But
I actually have some reveals about that, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it for Super Mario Maker. If you have a Wii U, get Super Mario Maker. Probably not a console seller the same way Smash was, or you know, Mario Kart was. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for my week. The only other thing I've been doing, replaying Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
I was wondering if you were gonna mention that.
Yeah, in lieu of playing Metal Gear Solid 5, I've been trying to round up my Metal Gear. You know, I played 2 and 3 to death. I only ever played Rising Revengeance once. And I didn't actually finish it. I got to, like, Sundowner, I think. The guy with, like, the wall shields things, and I stopped there. So I'm going through and actually finishing it.
Stephen confirmed for not a Metal Gear fan.
Not a real Metal Gear fan. Platinum was too much for me. And I'm surprised, like, how short the game feels, because I've gotten all the way back to where I left off, which is, like, pretty far into the game. Like, I'm about where I left off before at Sundowner.
Well, the point of these games isn't rushing through it, because you can rush through it easily. It's to get an S rank.
Yeah, it's to get good.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
to play it on hard, to do all of that. Because the first time, like, I played through, like, I stopped for all the codecs and all that, which is one of the most interesting things about Metal Gear, listening to those. And, like, as soon as, like, I started up and it was like, oh, codecs, I remember those, because they just aren't in Metal Gear Solid 5. And they were some of my favorite parts of 2 and 3.
The best part of, you know, the Metal Gear series, not in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, we've already talked about Metal Gear Solid 5, though.
You're just itching to talk about it again.
No, I've said my piece. I don't think I could say anything more about it without touching spoiler territory.
All right.
And I'd rather wait a long enough time where I feel comfortable.
And when I actually played the game.
Yeah, that's mainly what I mean. So that was my week. How was your week?
Okay, so I actually got my computer working.
The computer's working.
Computer is working.
It's alive!
Okay, so first I'm going to talk about my financial plans first.
Hedge Fund 101, everybody.
Yeah, hedge fund getting a PS4.
PS4 hedge funding.
Okay, I was looking... Okay, this is actually a funny story in its own right. Because I was looking at getting a PS4.
Yes.
And I'm looking and it's like, oh, hey, in Europe they have 1 terabyte PS4s you can buy. Fuck, I want one of those.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I was just like, why is this Europe only? I want a billion terabyte PS4.
And then I see that, oh my gosh, the US is getting a terabyte PS4. It's a Black Ops 3 pre-order, but I don't care. And then I look at it, and that thing, that PS4, is the ugliest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys... Okay, you guys need to go look at the Black Ops PS4. Because it is so fucking ugly. It is like an orange kind of puke... Booger! That's the color.
Yeah, I'm actually going to bring up a picture of this right now.
But because they can totally see that.
So, it's the Black Ops...
PS4. Images.
Yes.
It's orange. It's not booger, actually. You know what it is? It's ugly Tron. It's the bad guy colors from Tron.
That is it. That's exactly it. Like, it's
You're
got
playing
that,
with the MCP.
And it's got, like, the dumb little logos on it. Like, the controller kind of almost looks decent.
No, it's still orange.
Except for the dumb, like, 3 on it, but the PlayStation 4 just looks stupid.
So I've decided to cut my losses and do the Destiny 500 gigabyte.
Oh, that means you gotta play Destiny now. We're all expecting a big Destiny review from you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Alright. So,
Actually, check out the difference between the Destiny one and the Black Ops PS4.
Yeah, so...
Destiny PS4.
Destiny PS4.
Look at how much better that looks. Even if you don't like Destiny, you can say to yourself, okay, that looks good.
Yeah. It actually looks like it has a thing going on to it, like some sort of design was put into it.
Yeah,
weird. As
opposed to Tron lines.
These lines look super future real cool, guys.
All right.
I feel like that's what happened with that. They were like, what looks cool with the kids? I don't know, Tron?
Okay, so Destiny PS4 bundle. New iPod I talked about.
Yes.
And then finally the Legacy Collection whatever of Metal Gear Solid, so I can play them all in order.
Exactly. The way it was meant to be played.
Well, play 1 through 3 and Portable Ops in order.
Peace Walker.
Peace Walker in order. And then I'm going to do Ground Zeroes and MGS5 on my PC.
Yes.
So, that's the plan. And the games I have played on my computer, I'm going to do a quick summary of them. Mm-hmm. Dragon Age. Still fun to play. Still really enjoyable. I'm having fun with it. I actually really have to admire BioWare's commitment to cutting off the branches. Because when you have a big RPG like that, or a big series of RPGs, it's hard to make a new game because the story that the players choose could go so many different directions.
Yeah.
So with this new DLC, actually BioWare's DLC thing is honestly almost kind of inspiring. Because one of the problems I have with DLC, especially in RPGs, is that the bad guys don't really matter all that much in the RPG DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
The only two I can think of where that actually matters is the Dark Souls.
Yeah,
DLC.
the original where they made a unique villain for the little DLC.
And who actually became, the villain for Dark Souls 2. Or at least an aspect of it. That's complicated.
It's read the item descriptions.
Yeah, you can't say read the wiki because it's all just item descriptions.
Yeah, that's literally it.
And then the BioWare DLC. Because... is it long enough I can actually spoil Dragon Age Inquisition?
Spoiler alert. Go for it.
Okay, spoiler alert. Give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2,
You can see
1.
the seconds right there.
Yeah, anyway. So, one of the DLCs for Dragon Age 2 was you fight an original Darkspawn. And he's named Corypheus, and he's waking up, and he's kind of cranky and confused. And you kill him, and that's the end of that. So, Dragon Age Inquisition, the main bad guy, gets revealed in a actually fairly neat kind of cutscene where he finally reveals himself to be the same guy you killed. And if you play the DLC, it's like, I killed you! And you weren't nearly this competent. You were actually just kind of waking up last time. And that actually is the same reaction a lot of the characters have, because you have Hawk, he's in Dragon Age Inquisition, and you have Varric, who is one of the best companions ever in a BioWare game. And they're both like, we killed this guy! We saw him dead!
We buried you!
Exactly. That is literally almost a reaction.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. I like how they did that. And what would I say? Oh yeah, the DLC. So the last DLC that they made for Dragon Age Inquisition actually takes place 2 years after the main game.
Alright.
So you get to catch up with all your characters. And it's setting the stage for the next game, which I appreciate, And I admire the way they did it, because they did it so that no matter what ending you had, there's more or less a finale that they can build the next game off of.
Yeah.
And which I appreciate. Because it must be so hard accounting for all these little decisions.
Yeah. Well, it is a problem faced by a lot of RPGs that branch, as it were, especially ones that completely deviate from each other. When the sequel comes out, and it's you have one ending where you save the world, and the other where you blew it up, and then game 2 comes out, and it's yep, none of those things really kind of happened, but sort of happened.
So Nier.
Yeah, probably Nier. But yeah, a lot of games have that problem. SMT is a pretty good example, because those are loosely connected to each other.
Kind of,
but at the same time, all the...
I saw an SMT timeline that connects SMT and Persona in one timeline.
Oh yeah, well they are connected.
Well, looking at it, I was afraid the geometry would summon Cthulhu. It's just a tangled web of, okay, so this has to happen here, but then this happens in an alternate universe.
Well, what SMT kind of does is they acknowledge all of the endings, but they say, this game follows typically the neutral ending. Sometimes it follows the bad. And it's kind of a behind-the-scenes, sort of, yes, but we won't acknowledge it kind of thing.
Yeah. So I played Dragon Age.
Yes.
I played Alpha Protocol, actually, a little bit.
Huh?
That game is good.
I don't think I played that game.
That game is really good, because I remember seeing a Yahtzee review when he reviewed it, and he was right. Some of the things they had are just the developers showing off, because, okay, it does the dialogue tree, but what the interesting thing is it's timed. You've got, maybe 3 seconds, 5, at most 10 seconds, at least 3 seconds, you have to decide, how are you going to respond to this? Just like an actual conversation.
Yeah.
So, and then you have your skills, And actually, with the skills matter what your character does. Like, there's one mission where either your handler is doing the hacking of this computer, or you're hacking the computer if your technical skills are high enough.
Yeah.
What order you do the missions in matters. If you've met certain characters, other characters will be like, oh my god, you know that person and you like that person? Oh!
That's actually funny.
But at the same time, the game is so fucking buggy. Like, there's one of the first levels. Like, the first level.
Well, how old is this game?
This game was made by Obsidian. It was... I don't know. Check real fast.
It was Alpha Protocol. Alpha Protocol with an O.
It was made in 2010.
So this is a 5-year-old game.
It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old. If one of your first levels, if you reload a checkpoint and all the enemies just disappear from the entire fucking level, maybe you should have done some more testing on it.
Well, yeah, because this is a PS3, Xbox 360, what is it, 7th generation. Those kind of kinks should have been worked out.
No, the main problem is the developer. Obsidian, never the best at, Q&A.
They have their track record, especially with with PC.
Especially with any of their games, because look, Knights of the Old Republic, buggy.
Because they have had some that came out pretty decent, but like, I'm looking through like South Park Stick of Truth. I remember when that came out, there was a lot of bugs. Fallout New Vegas, we all know about its more infamous bugs.
The publisher also doesn't help. Obsidian and Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pillars of Eternity and Wasteland 2.
Oh, Pillars of Eternity had some fucking bugs.
Yeah, all the reviews I've seen of that had their nice little segment on, also there are bugs that broke the game.
To be fair, they fixed a lot of the bugs really quickly, which is unusual for Obsidian.
Oh yeah, like that's one of the things that is actually kind of praiseworthy that they do. Like, I know I've talked about all the bugs for all of them, but a lot of them don't have those bugs anymore. And I don't know if that's still true for Alpha Protocol, because you said you've been experiencing them.
The bugs are there.
The bugs are still there.
Maybe I could get like one of those fan patches that fixes it. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, because I actually, my next thing probably I'll play through Fallout 3. I already got it, downloaded there.
I see it.
I was going through and looking through like mods because the game hasn't aged well visually. So I was looking for something, maybe make faces look like something. Faces. And there are so many like fan patches, like here's all the things you need to make the game playable.
Which is why
how true that is debatable, but
never mind. That's another topic altogether. Touch The Sims again.
All right.
I'm glad I didn't touch it too much because The Sims. Oh my god, it's been how long since The Sims came out originally? Like decades.
Oh, yeah. Like, we're talking about, like, the original Sims, right?
Well, even as a concept, just The Sims.
Yeah.
It's been decades since those games were created, and they're still as fucking addictive as ever.
What is it about just, like, watching a guy fill up his pee meter that makes it so entertaining?
It's not even that. It's, okay, I have to wake him up at this time so he can boost his cooking skill and make breakfast for everybody. And then
it's almost,
and then you look at yourself and you're like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life?
It's kind of like the same pool that brings us into like bad mobile games, just without the paywall making us feel bad about it.
Yeah, really. So touch The Sims again. Let's see, what else did I touch?
That's inappropriate. I touched The Sims.
Touch you with my fist.
I don't think that's a touch. Bad touch. Bad touch.
Speaking of fisting,
where are you going with that?
Soma.
Oh, Soma. Yes. So that game came out,
and I watched some of it. I didn't watch much because I wanted to keep myself unspoiled.
I've been kind of the same way. it is Halloween. It is the spooky, scary
season.
The spooky season. I also have my spooky game already picked out.
Let's see, what is it? Killing Floor?
No,
Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
Why don't you just play Sonic Dreams Collection? That's fucking...
I think I would have, but I watched just so many playthroughs of that because it was one of the things, like, I saw one and I couldn't look away. It was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm slightly confused.
I'm scared too.
But I have a boner. Awkward boner.
But yeah, I looked a little bit at Soma,
mm-hmm.
and it's really good. If you've watched the live action trailers, which I assume you have,
yeah,
it's not quite a horror game anymore, because the first little bit is scary, but then you get to your first big reveal. And then after that, it's slightly different.
Yeah, I've heard that it's less of, that amnesia, like everything's spooky and it's all atmosphere, and more of a, hey, this is a sci-fi game. We're going to have some Star Trek sci-fi up in here.
Well, not so much. Well, Star Trek might be a good comparison because you're thinking about this a lot.
Yeah, from what I understood is, while yes, there are still spooky scaries who, you have to hide behind a wall for. There's also a lot of that, like, future, semi-dystopian, like...
Not so... I won't say anything. It's not so much dystopian as something else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thought-provoking, I guess.
Thought-provoking is the good word. So the reason I brought up fisting is because in order to heal yourself, if you get, spooked by monsters, is there's these weird anemone-like things.
Yeah.
And at first you just kind of poke it, and it looks like a butthole. It looks like a glowing alien anemone butthole. Glowing barnacle butthole is what I called it when I was watching that live stream. But then after the first reveal, you are fucking fisting that thing. And it's angry because it grabs onto your fist.
Oh.
So it's an angry alien.
Booty likes.
So the way I phrased it is you are fisting an angry alien barnacle butthole.
You're just going balls deep into there.
No, you're going.
You're going all.
You're not going all the way. You're going like at least. You're going deeper than wrist deep in there, folks.
All the way to the elbow, baby.
There are two things I did not see. I did not see the blood moon, because it's been fucking raining where we live for...
Yeah, I remember we had the blood moon, which it's a mix of an eclipse of the moon and
the moon being super huge.
Yeah, which makes it, nice and red and spooky.
Ah, no!
There goes Snake letting me know. He's like, play Metal Gear Revengeance, do it! Do it later.
And we missed it because of cloud cover. It's not like it's going to be another 18 years or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So if we're still doing this in 18 years...
I know. It's like I missed the Haley's Comet. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to die now.
Yeah, really. So, missed that, and I have not seen Fury Road yet, because I bought it on Blu-ray.
Oh! So, I won't talk about that at all, because that's a movie you just gotta sit and watch. It is a ride.
You say that kind of creepy sexually.
Maybe it is creepy sexually. You ever think of that?
Okay, we've got a couple of news things.
He just brushes it off.
I am not thinking about that creepy sexual thing at all. A couple of news things to talk about.
So, a couple of news things. Last time we said we were going to get into the Tokyo Game Show.
Actually, before we do that...
before we go into that, I was going to go that way.
Speaking of alien barnacle buttholes...
Please finish the segue.
There's water on Mars.
Yes, I have...
Not just water, but flowing fucking water.
Yes, there is...
flowing water on Mars.
There is some huge changes to the way we think about the universe going on.
Well, not really, because it's almost like we're going back to the way we used to think about Mars.
Yeah, well, back then...
Back then we thought
it was still like, oh, it could be, but it's the Mystery Planet, and that's what it was. It was the Mystery Planet.
Well, I'm thinking like the canals that they had, the big, lots of water, and then there was a period from like the Viking Lander till a couple years ago that, Mars is just this dry, dead thing.
Yeah, and like ever since, the space age, as you were, ever since we cared about, solar system, ever since we had debates over Pluto being a planet and, what the asteroid belt is and all that good stuff, Mars has been a dust bowl.
But now there's water on it.
Now it's got a little bit more than dust, yeah.
It's got actual fucking flowing water.
So this is actually really huge.
I am waiting. I am marking my calendar like 5-10 years from now, where they say, "Okay, guess what we found in the water."
I am hopeful that it comes a lot sooner than that.
It's going to be at least 5 years.
Because that is one of the things that is really going to change the way we think about our place in the universe itself, all of it. Once we bump into that, bacteria dead or alive or whatever, life beyond our planet
exists.
It's going to make us feel really small.
I already feel really small, but
we feel really small because we care about this, but Donald Trump and his fans don't.
Speaking of things that make you feel really small and that will reveal more of the universe, did you see the YouTube video of Wada talking about some Mario reveals? It was right before Mario Maker came out.
When he was talking about like behind the scenes and like I think one of the things was like Dr. Mario, probably not a good doctor.
No. But one of the things I did think was interesting was the reveal that Super Mario World 3 is actually all a play.
Yes, so that's been like a fan rumor for a long time, and I've always kind of thought of it that way.
But now that it's been officially revealed as true, it's really interesting because remember Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, how that was literally a play?
Literally a stage play.
I just think that was interesting. Also interesting is finding out who Bowser Jr.'s mother was. I did not need to know that. There's porn on the internet of that. Somewhere. Somehow.
There always is.
I could have also done a different segue, but Fallout 4.
Fallout 4. They recently announced that there will be
no skill points.
No skill points.
Of any kind.
Yep.
Which does not make me confident in Fallout 4 at all.
It is. Well, it's one of those things that have to mix up the formula.
Okay.
But is this the good mix-up we want?
I have a lot of friends who absolutely despise RPGs as they are and just love changes to RPGs.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Bethesda cannot make a traditional RPG well. What the hell makes them so sure that Bethesda is going to make a change to an RPG formula and they're going to make that game good? Because I can't even make good regular RPGs. At least mechanically wise.
Well, they make the Western RPG, and they kind of have a little bit of... when you think of Western RPG, most people think of the Fallout 3 or the Skyrim, design idea to it. But that is so limited in scope and what, really is the traditional Western RPG, even RPG for that matter. I
actually had a long conversation about this as well, because I am a huge fan of Western RPGs. I like the... Okay, let me just save us all a bunch of trouble. We'll talk about this probably next week, because RPGs are a huge topic.
Yeah. We may just drop that as our next design bit.
Okay, so let me just put this out here right now. The difference between Japanese RPGs and Western RPGs is how you define the word role. Yeah. Are you assuming
Well, just to clarify, the difference between a Western and a Japanese is where it was made, but the difference in how we think of a Western and Japanese RPG is the role.
Are you assuming a blank slate, or are you stepping into the shoes of an actual character?
Yeah.
So that is the main the philosophical difference. That's why I wanted. That's
Yeah,
what
and then you can look between all sorts of like Japanese versions and Western versions of different, game types, whether it's shooters or anything. There will be the same kind of different philosophy.
What was that video series? I can't remember the name of it. It was on Penny Arcade for a while. It was.
Oh yes. Now I forgot. I'm actually subscribed to them on YouTube. Extra Credits.
Extra Credits.
Yeah.
They did like a 3 or 4 part series on the difference between Western RPGs and Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, they did that. Another one sort of along this line. They did one talking about the gun and the myth of the gun. And they've done stuff like this before.
They're super good. If you're listening to this, you're probably already subscribed to them. So never mind.
No, maybe not. I listen to them. I don't always agree with them.
Yes, that's true. But you have to admit they make their points well.
They make points, and it's they make really. The best thing I said, they make really good jumping in points to conversations.
Whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so you were talking about Western and Japanese.
Yeah, but basically, I'm not... The Fallout 4 having a voice protagonist, I wasn't not sold on that. It made me kind of nervous. Removing the skill points makes me even more nervous. I'm going to wait for it to come out. I'm going to look at the reviews. I really would like to, have a new game to play on my new computer. But I'm just going to wait.
Yep. Yeah. I think for the people who are watching all the trailers, at least twice, they've already got their pre-orders. They already have Fallout in the bag. But for the rest of you who, maybe this will be your first Fallout, maybe about Fallout through word of mouth, people talking about 3 in New Vegas. This is a good enough reason to maybe hold off on that big pre-order, maybe wait and see a little bit more.
This actually reminds me of a joke. What do Fallout, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Persona all have in common?
What do they have in common?
Everybody thinks they start with 3.
Oh, that's actually really funny.
Alright, you want to dive right into the TGS?
Let's hold off on the TGS and go into our design bit for a little bit.
Okay.
So we actually had a conversation that started with you bringing up,
Okay, so I was mowing my lawn the other week rather, and can't mow the lawn today, that's for damn sure.
For the record, it's been really rainy for like the last week. I feel like I'm in like Ireland or somewhere where it's just dedicated to
God.
We're 2 for 2 on cell phones going off.
Yeah, really. I better check this. It might be my brother. I'll have to tell him sorry. Oh, he's on a test drive. Cool. Anyway. So I was mowing my lawn the other day, and I had my iPod in, as I do, and it's on shuffle, and something comes up, something I haven't listened to in years, and it was the Halo soundtrack.
Yes.
Actually, it was technically the Halo 3 soundtrack. So it starts up the Halo theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big Halo theme that you always think of.
Yeah.
And I just lose myself because more than 10, God, that came out in 2000, 2001.
For like Halo 3?
Or even just Halo, where the thing...
Yeah, like Halo I thought was like a 2008 game. Like Halo Combat Evolved. Combat Evolved was 2001.
November of 2001.
That is a long time ago.
It's what, 2015? It's almost 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And Halo 3 came out...
Halo 3 was 2007, yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, that's 8 years about? 7, 8?
Yeah.
September? Yeah, so 8 years.
And I'm listening to it, and holy fuck, does that music hold up? That music is so fucking good. And I get memories of the final level of Halo. I'm not sure if you remember it too well or not, but all it is, and it's not a first-person shooter. It's not like running through the corridors. It's a timed level, racing through a spaceship on like a jeep. You're driving, and the music is pumping, and you're like, oh shit, 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 oh shit. And it is so fucking good. And I tell you this. And your main response is, yeah, soundtracks are important.
Yep. And I guess that brings us to why we're bringing this up. I also listen to a lot of video game soundtracks, almost as much, or maybe even a little more so than regular in big quote music. What we traditionally think of, with bands and all that good stuff. But the value of a really good soundtrack.
I added something to the itinerary and he just kind of oohed at it.
But, so the value of a really good soundtrack, and that's what I want to talk about here. How important is a really good soundtrack to a game?
Well, it depends, actually, I feel, because certain games need better soundtracks. Because if you're playing like a sports game, like say the Madden whatever,
yeah,
the soundtrack is not going to be as important. But actually, it is kind of important because actually, I just realized that with a sports game, the soundtrack is only as important as what it evokes, and I think that's what the most important thing is.
And I think that's what I was kind of going to lead into.
Well, I just took it from you, fucker.
Yep. What we often think about, like, how soundtrack good, and like, you can take the Halo soundtrack out of Halo, and it still sounds really good. And there are a lot of games where you can do that. There are a lot of like really bad games that like you can take their soundtrack and they hold up. And this one might be like a little controversial, but Xenoblade, the Wii game that's getting the new like Xenoblade X, it's coming out. I hated that game because of how terrible its combat was, but that soundtrack is something else. Like,
so it's not Rhyme Time?
But like, I can think of They Will Know Our Names and so many of the other songs on there. Just as a song are really great. And I think that was actually one of the things that actually kept me going all the way to the end of the game, was I just really liked that music, and it actually kept me engaged, as it were. But sort of what I want to talk about was more important than the individual value of the track itself is the design of the sound in terms of game sound design, as it were.
Well, I wanted to say, actually, not so much sound design, but going along with the soundtracks, is I was thinking, and I think one of the best examples I can think of, I think I think of things I think. Yeah. Cogito ergo sum. Anyway, the best example of that with a unified, almost theme and motif is Persona 4. Because I have the Persona 4 soundtrack.
Yes, as do I.
As do we all.
I think it came with the game, right?
Yes, but if you didn't get it originally...
Then you're a scrub. No.
Then you're somebody who is late to the party like I was. Anyway, but the thing is, that whole soundtrack has a recurring riff. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yes.
And that recurring riff is the first thing you hear when you get to the start menu. It's in the battle music. It's in a lot of the incidental music.
Yeah, it's the reach out to the truth, like, music, like, that's the song, that's kind of its big theme there.
But
the sound behind it, the notes, that's spread out across most of the songs.
And then when you get to the end credits, you hear the song where those notes are from the Nevermore.
Yeah.
And you hear that, and if you're like me, you burst into tears because fuck.
Well, that's like for Persona 3, they kind of did the same thing. When you get to the very end, and I forget the name of the song.
The area for everyone's souls. No, Battle for Everyone's Souls, I think it was.
No, I'm talking about like the very end of the game. Nap Time.
Oh, Nap Time. If anybody who's played Persona 3 knows what we're talking about, they're currently crying.
Yeah, like it just hits you like a rock, and you're just like, because it's at the end, and it's the climax, and it's a really great scene, and the music just adds so much to that. But kind of what I wanted to talk about, because all of that's true, like having that riff and having, you know, a connective music idea to it is important 90% of the time. But I want to bring up another game that has a really great soundtrack in a non-traditional sense. Dark Souls. Do you remember the soundtrack that plays for the majority of the game?
I played Dark Souls 2, remember?
Yes, that's right. Well, Dark Souls, and this is actually also true for Dark Souls 2, the main music that's playing through most of the game is...
a very minor key.
Silence.
Well, oh, that's true, actually.
The sound is you, the player, moving around. It is practically total silence.
Well,
and it only kicks in during boss fights and then at certain, like, hub points.
Yeah. Because I was thinking of the Majula theme, which I still love.
There's the Majula theme, the Firelight Shrine theme in Dark Souls 1. And then there's all the boss music. But for most of the game, you're kind of just there in silence.
Well, to be fair, a lot of that game relies on you actually listening and paying attention to different audio cues.
Yeah, and it is a lot of audio cues, but that kind of eeriness that it adds to the game, that horror, as you will, like maybe that's not the right word.
Well, actually, it might be the right word if you apply it to another. What's that company name? That makes Dark Souls.
FromSoft.
FromSoft. If you apply it to another FromSoft game, Bloodborne.
Yes, which does the same thing.
But there, it's actually going for horror. There.
Yeah. But what it kind of does is that eerie sense, that idea that you're alone, and the music reverberates that. And like I can think of other games where like the music is like a big focus.
Castlevania's got real good music there.
Yeah, Castlevania has a great soundtrack, but I was going to think of two games that kind of have the same thing going for them. Jet Set Radio and a modern game, Splatoon.
They're both actually going for the same thing as well. They're going for coolness.
They're going for that kind of, you know...
Hey kids, I too. How are you doing, my
that kind
kids?
of...
I too drink my yogurt through a tube.
But yeah, they have that same kind of feel to them, that like 90s-ish skater kind of scene feel to it. The go-kart. But that fresh feeling, and all of that music blends with everything else in the game to the point where, like, you couldn't take that, you couldn't interchange that with, like, a different type of music and it still work the same way. Mm-hmm. Like, you couldn't have classical music and it working the same way. You couldn't have, you know, another game that does it really well, Metal Gear Revengeance.
It's got a lot of butt rock.
It's you know, the rules of nature, as it were. All of that, like when the boss kicks in and like the vocals start hitting.
Platinum Games does do that.
Platinum Games does actually do that really well. And there are a lot of companies that do this really, really well. And then there are a lot of games that don't.
Well, even the games that don't, they have... I was actually thinking of a game that you really wouldn't think has a good soundtrack, but kind of does. The Sims. One of the original Sims.
Yes.
If you go back and you listen to one of the themes that plays when you're buying furniture and shit, that sounds almost like a cheesy, almost infomercial type of music you hear like on late night infomercials. And it works because you are just... it just brings back memories for me, I guess.
Well, I think that's kind of what I'm saying. You can take music out of the video game, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And, like, to bring back Dark Souls, you can take silence out of the game, but it's just silence, right?
It's just like this. See what we did there?
But... when you put it, but inside the game, even if you can't take it out, it has to work with the game on a level where it invokes a sense of feeling, some sort of emotional value, or at least a thought, like you were saying with the infomercials. You know, it has to
evoke something.
If it evokes the right emotions in the right way to set a mood, to set a tone,
then it works.
Then it works. And it's something that's really important that a lot of games get wrong.
I just remembered something I did last week, but I'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah, and like, because I played so many games where like they're horror games and they just have like
the absolute worst is the horror violin string.
Yeah, where it's just like
the jump scare. It's like, oh, the violins are picking up,
and then it's just kind of like
it
gives it away, or the feeling sounds really fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've seen so many battle themes where like the music is not upbeat enough for the battle, or like, you know, you have a moment that's like supposed to be like really somber or sad, and it still kicks in the regular battle music that's like, yeah, we're gonna fuck people up today.
But the games that don't do that are amazing.
But the games that like know how to use that,
I'm actually thinking of something specific. Dragon Quest V. So spoilers if you've never played Dragon Quest V. About like not even a third of the way through the game. God, that's a long game. Anyway, at some point in the game, you're actually playing as a kid. The first little bit, and you are being held hostage by a bad guy, and then it goes into the random battle, and it's playing a slightly different version of the battle music, and your dad's doing the fighting. And most of the time, when you see your dad fight in this game, he's kicking all sorts of ass.
Yeah.
But in this part, since you're being held hostage, he does nothing. And the battle goes on for at least 5 minutes because your dad has that much HP. and he's not fighting. And he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. You know how you see the text box?
Yeah.
Take 10 damage. Your father stands there sadly. Take 15 damage. Your father stands there sadly. It just... and it makes you watch. There's no skipping through that battle.
Yeah.
And that's hard to watch. And the music... which is just almost a slight, like, minor variation of the main battle music, is so painful.
Yeah. But I guess the main reason I bring this up is when we talk about games in the future and we talk about sound design, often we may say, like, the music of the game or the soundtrack of the game. But what we really mean is that sound design is how they use the music, and whether it adds to the game or takes away from the game. And
you ready to switch topics?
Yep. And so speaking of
things that add or take away from the game, having a good voice cast,
having good voices.
We'll probably talk more about this later, but the reason I bring it up is that it's happening kind of right now.
Yeah,
and it'll probably be happening next week. This
is a timely topic.
There's a voice actor strike.
Yes,
possibly in the works, and if it happens next week, if it doesn't happen next week, we'll get you more news.
Yeah, so if it happens and we know like who's going to be involved. Because right now it is tentative, right? There's people who...
Check it real fast, because I'm not sure if it's... There's people who are proposing it, and I'm not sure who's who as far as this yet. This is really a developing story.
Convenience strike gives me nothing.
Voice actor strike.
Yeah, it's all may go on strike, potential strike.
Scroll up again to that Forbes article. What's that saying?
You can support game developers and voice actors at the same time.
No, you can't. just close out of it. I just wanted to see the headline.
It's not.
It's Forbes. They're
so. But yeah, so it's a potential thing that may happen.
Well, let's talk about this more next week. But
yeah, but it's something to kind of keep your thoughts on. But because I love David Hayter and Metal Gear Solid.
You've mentioned that.
I have mentioned that. And good voice acting matters.
Fuck, could you imagine if, like, say, what's his name? Yuri Lowenthal went on strike? Holy fuck.
Well, like, you
JRPGs would have to be cancelled.
Yeah, like, how many games have we played that are just, like, shit voice acting? Just, like, terrible. And, like, you juxtapose those to ones with, like, really good voice actors, and it's kind of... And, like, if you know anything about the industry, you know they kind of get a raw deal.
Not just video game voice actors, but voice actors in general. Let's save this for next week.
But, yeah, so... It's something to think about. Keep your eyes on. It's sort of a breaking news. And whatever happens, we will keep you informed of.
Yes.
But we also have to talk about, and I guess this is the meat of
the podcast.
Only an hour in.
Yeah, only an hour in.
We promised it last week. Here it is.
TGS.
The Tokyo Game Show. So
should we talk about the creepiest thing first, or the thing that I want to talk about the most first?
Let's go with creepy and work our way. Let's try to end on a silver lining.
Well, Persona 5 isn't exactly a silver lining.
But let's go with the creeps. Tell me about your creep shots.
Okay, speaking of creep shots, Summer Lesson is getting a new character in it.
Yes.
It is a blonde, American-looking girl, and you're teaching her Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how that's going to work when they eventually bring this over. I know that I still believe that Play for Real gaming article where they say if Summer Lesson is released, Japan will die. I feel like if Japan is going to perfect brain uploading and then Japan is just going to vanish completely, the islands themselves are going to disappear into the Pacific Ocean. But I did bring something else up. I did see something else interesting.
Yes.
He would love to add a male character to the game.
Oh.
So you can have your Shota creep shots as well.
Yes. Just what I've always wanted.
Oh god, you already made that really creepy. Oh god, that was really super creepy. Okay, so that's the creepiest thing.
So we got the creepy out of the way.
Now let's talk about Persona 5 because, damn it, I'm not waiting till the end. I am not waiting till the end because...
Alright. Persona 5, let's get into it.
Was delayed.
Yes, so I expected this, to be perfectly honest.
I expected it as well, but there was always a little bit of my head that was going, yeah, but what if they actually fake you out? What if it's all a work and it comes out tomorrow?
It's already out.
It's already out in Japan and they're just waiting to tease you.
Like the guy gets on stage, does a JoJo pose, it's like, it's already out, dude. But yes, so it's been bumped back to 2016.
Summer of 2016 for Japan, probably an entire year for the West.
Yep. Which is kind of typical for a game with that much dialogue and voice acting.
The makeup for it a little bit. They released a new trailer. I actually read some translations of a magazine that talked about what the plot is a little bit, because you're stealing back Rotten Hearts.
Yes.
Which is actually almost exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so...
I've got two things. A good thing that I'm really excited about, and a bad thing I'm really excited about.
All right, well, go with your bad thing first.
I'm afraid we've seen the entire cast. I'm afraid this cast is going to be, minuscule compared to the other games, because with every trailer we've seen... It's just been
those four people.
With now a fifth person.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I feel maybe that's not the case, because in the last trailer there was that fifth person.
But
he could be the villain, or he could just
They confirmed that he's helping.
Alright, so he may just be the next cast member that they haven't really shown.
But here's my problem. At this point in Persona 3, I think, and with Persona 4... we already knew that there was going to be a bigger cast. We didn't know about Naoto, but we knew about Kanji, we knew about Teddy, we knew about Yukiko, we knew about Yosuke. That's basically the entire Persona 5 cast right there, and we still didn't know about Naoto. So I'm a little concerned that this is just going to be the cast, and it's going to be tiny, and just don't like that female character. I really don't.
Not waifu material for you.
Garbage material.
Garbage material. Into the trash she goes.
Like most waifus.
I'm a little more optimistic than that. I think the reason they've been keeping it with just these 4 is to kind of keep a lot of the cast a secret, because so many of like the levels looking back at Persona 3 and Persona 4 are based around the new characters as they show up.
Yeah, but the other thing about Persona 5, I don't know. Okay, you like Persona 3, right? You bought Persona 4 day 1, right?
Yeah.
Were you at all nervous about the change in tone?
I actually played Persona 3 after 4.
Okay, so
I played 4 and then I went and played 3.
Okay, so you can't answer this question, but the change in tone from the yay, happy, lucky friend Scooby group time to the kind of dark and, well, not dark, but kind of anti-hero tone of 5, I'm not sure I really like that. I don't know if I can like that or not. I just don't know.
Well, you see, because I played it from 4 and then 3, so the way I played the happy-go-lucky Scooby-Doo cast, and then I played Burn My Dread angsty cast.
Whenever I hear Burn My Dread, I keep thinking Bob Marley had an accident with his blunt.
So for me, like, that's how Persona kind of moved. And I'm fine with tonal shifts.
But it's just, I don't know if I like that specific shift. I don't know if I like it to that specific type is my problem.
Maybe, because I think my bigger, like, shift changes is mechanical. We know a little bit about these stealth mechanics that are coming into play. Is this the Metal Gear of Persona? Maybe.
To be fair, the stealth mechanics have always been get behind the guy and hit him first.
But this one seems a little bit more elaborate than that, and from what trailers we've seen,
there's a lot of sneaking around.
Yeah, so it may be taking a note from, Eldrin Odyssey, or I guess Persona Q in this case, with the FOB type characters that are just a little out of your price range the first time you go through. And sneaking around, I'm guessing that's going to be sort of how this plays out.
Maybe, but
yeah, that's all speculation, of course.
Okay, let's talk about the good things.
But yes, so the good things.
That translation I read revealed the names of some of the characters' personas. So
yes.
we have Arsene, which is a figure from a French novel, which is like the epitome Japanese. Oh, not Japanese, the epitome gentleman thief. So much so that Lupin III is Lupin Arsene III.
Yeah.
So he's huge in Japanese culture.
Well, he's huge in culture in general. Arsene, the thief, kind of made the idea of, like you said, the gentleman thief. Ideas like the calling card.
But here's
stealing for a cause. Like, all of that came from Arsene.
Here's the other thing. One of the other characters' personas, I believe it was Morgana the cat,
yes,
or whatever it is Zorro.
Yes, I saw that. That's so cool.
The female character's persona, one name, Carmen.
Yep.
And I swear to God, if it's fucking Carmen Sandiego, I will freak my shit out because you have Arsene, you have fucking Zorro. If it's not Carmen Sandiego at this point. Oh my God, could you imagine if it was? Could you imagine how confused everybody would be? And I'm just sitting there, just so happy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Carmen Sandiego.
I think it's going to be Carmen Sandiego.
No.
If it's not Carmen Sandiego, the visual design will be fucking Carmen Sandiego, because that is a good design. It's going to be Carmen Sandiego. Calling it right now. What episode number is this? Do you even know?
Like 12 or 13, I think.
Calling it now, it's going to be Carmen fucking Sandiego.
Carmen fucking Sandiego. I'm pretty sure it's the French lady, the assassin character. But Carmen Sandiego. And then the last one, I think the guy we know is the pirate, like Blackbeard or Bluebeard, or I forget.
Bluebeard, I think it was.
Bluebeard, yeah.
He's not a pirate. He's something quite different. You've never heard the story of Bluebeard?
No, I thought Bluebeard was the pirate.
No, that's Blackbeard.
I know Blackbeard.
Bluebeard was a fable story. He told his wife, "Don't go into this room, okay?" So she got curious. She opened the door. It was women's heads all along the wall. And then he comes up behind her. "I told you not to go in here." And he chops her head off and sticks it on the wall. He might be a bad guy.
Maybe. Well, that's the other thing that, like, it's kind of been dispelled, as it were. There were a lot of rumors going around that we are the bad guys in this one. And now that we know, like, we're stealing back hearts.
Rotten hearts.
That we're less of the bad guy and more sort of
Fight
chivalrous thieves.
Fight the man is what the theme is.
Yep.
I've never been fond of Fight the Man as a theme because I always... Whenever I think about myself, it's like, holy shit, I support the man.
I am the man. Well, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's like, I'm fine fighting the man, but really, I would just rather be the man. He seems like he's got a nice deal.
He's got a nice thing going on, and what's a little, freedom? Take your happy pills, citizen. Okay, so we talked like 10 minutes about Persona 5.
We're going to be talking more, so...
We're going to make an entire
Like,
Persona
up
cast.
until summer 2016, assuming it doesn't get pushed back again.
Again, like it has been twice already.
Yep, we are going to be talking about Persona.
Okay, so,
And I'm getting really close to the point where I may actually cut off myself from news from Persona.
I'm not, fuck that.
So, because I kind of like going in a little blind on games.
To be fair, did the Persona 4 trailers reveal that Nanako,
was the villain the whole time?
It's been long enough. Nanako fucking died?
Yeah.
No, they did not.
So, well, there are a lot of things that obviously weren't revealed. The big mystery, who done it, Nanako, all that good stuff.
And an old tip of the hat to whoever made that design choice. Fuck you! I was crying.
It was a really good movie.
It was a bad time for me. it was not a happy time at my house.
Are you saying you weren't as amused by it? You would rather have Revolver Jesus and his
nap time?
Revolver Jesus, you were the best unsung hero of that game.
We needed a nap. Anyway,
so Tokyo Game Show.
What else happened?
There were a lot of other games that happened there, so we will get into it. We pulled up a list of stuff here.
Street Fighter V obviously happened. It still didn't officially announce Rashid or whatever his name is.
Yeah, so they showed off some of the gameplay. They showed off the characters that we know so far, officially know anyways.
It's still a game.
It's still a game. It's still Street Fighter. I think. We've said before, we're not big fighting gamers.
I would like to be, but it's hard.
Yeah. But from what I can understand and what I've seen from seeing actual fighting gamers talk about it, the hype is real.
Get good.
Get good.
And salt or whatever. I don't know.
And salt or whatever.
Okay, let's talk about the stuff we actually like.
You should totally just show up to all the fighting games and just announce. You can see there, he punched the dude. It did some damage.
And now he's doing something else.
Oh, I think he used meter. It's called meter, right?
Yeah.
Confirmed for meter.
Yeah.
Meter use.
He did use some of it, and it did it miss? Oh no, it did, but it kind of didn't.
You're laughing. That would be amusing as hell. But yes, so some of the other games...
It's like Conan's Oblivious Gamer.
Oh no, that's great.
Conan's Oblivious
If
Gamer.
you have not seen Conan's Oblivious Gamer, that is some quality comedy right there. Maybe not so much good talking about video games, but at least as a... It's almost like a meta review of video games seen from the outside.
Exactly. And sometimes you need that outside perspective.
Sometimes you need somebody like Conan to sit down and be like, I don't know what these buttons do.
And be like, that's stupid. And then look at it like...
Why is she naked? Why are they all naked?
And then you yourself look at it and think, you know what? Why are they all naked?
Why are they all naked? Like the Laura Croft one where like she dies and like, oh God! Why did this happen?
Oh, and Dead or Alive Extreme. The first characters they announced were the ones that were suspiciously 18.
Suspicious. They have the little disclaimer at the start. All characters are at least 18-year-olds.
Yeah,
and then there's like
you'll
12.
buy that right. You buy that right.
But they're also in high school and middle school.
And middle school. They got held back a few years.
They got, comas. Everyone had a coma.
Yeah. And that's why they act like children occasionally and wear creepy dresses.
Dead
or Alive Extreme is happening. Get ready for more happy volleyball adventures in breasts, boobs, breasts.
So sports.
Pro Evolution Soccer. Now, I saw this gym position. Now, the Pro Evolution Soccer on Steam is not the Xbox One and PS4 versions.
Oh.
It is the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions.
So we got the port of the watered down version on PC.
Yes, we did, and here's where it gets even better.
I don't even know if I want to know this one.
You want to know this one. Because when you type it into Steam... Go ahead, type it into Steam right now.
We're popping up Steam.
Type in Pro Evolution Soccer.
Pro Evolution Soccer 2016.
Oh, no, you didn't do it right. It did. It changed. Because, you see, before, it would take you to the bundle version, not the game page.
No, yeah, it's straight to the bundle.
Straight to the bundle. Now,
2016 digital exclusive bundle.
There is nothing in that bundle.
Yeah, I noticed that. It doesn't show the little, what's included.
Now, here's the reason. Because if it took you to the game, you would see that the game is getting mixed reviews, at best.
Oh, even this one's getting mixed reviews.
So, Konami basically made it a bundle so that you couldn't see the fucking reviews.
Oh my gosh, Konami, please stop.
And then, Jim brought up another fact that I did not know. Okay, so Metal Gear Solid 5 is getting DLC.
Yes, so I've heard about this.
Did you hear what type of DLC it is getting?
No.
It is getting the first example of DLC, the first example of bad DLC. It is getting fucking horse armor.
Oh, that's right, I have actually heard of this. Oh.
It is getting goddamn horse armor.
History lesson for everyone.
Okay, back in the old days, I remember when this came out, actually.
Yeah.
Back in the olden days, one of the first examples of DLC, one of the first games to have it was Oblivion.
Yep.
And one of the first examples of Oblivion DLC, because this is all new. This is back in the days
like this is back when they were still testing the waters with DLC.
One of the first things they did was they added basically just what amounted to a cosmetic change to your horse with horse armor.
Yeah, so it gave your horse the little armor thing that didn't really do anything, but I guess looked cool to somebody.
Yeah, and they were charging how much for that? Like $9?
Yeah, it was like $20 or some shit.
And it was bad.
Yeah, it was one of those things where everyone was like, "We'll kill you. Why would you do this?"
So for them to go back to horse armor,
it's one of those things where knowing the history, which we know they know the history of horse armor. Why?
Yeah, so
like, why would you even consider like that? Like maybe like after a couple DLCs slip in the horse armor, but not the first one to the game that we're already mad at you for wrecking.
Not just that, they're adding the Tuxedo DLC, which was something that you could unlock normally, but not this time.
Yep. So that was...
Fuck Konami. let's continue with TGS. What else did you want to talk about?
Yes, so we're going through, so
Close that.
Talk Persona, Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, the only thing I wanted to say about this is that holy fuck, Kingdom Hearts is confusing to follow.
You're just learning this one?
Well, I thought about it again the other day, just because the first Kingdom Hearts was so fucking good.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that's kept me away from Kingdom Hearts.
The first one was so fucking good.
Yes.
But then you have the Game Boy Advance direct sequel, because in order to find the story of this, you have to have owned literally every game console since the PS2.
Yes.
You needed a PS2, a Game Boy Advance, a PSP.
Yep, PlayStation Portable, DS,
Vita, PS3, mobile.
Yeah,
Holy fuck! And now they're adding another one whose title does not even fucking make sense. It's like Kingdom Hearts 2.8.
Yeah.
Redux. It's like, what the fuck is 2.8?
Well, like, even then, they had, like, what was it, like, Kingdom Hearts...
Birth by Sleep.
The Birth by Sleep, like, 4/365 or something stupid like that.
Oh my god, that was the DS one. That was like...
Yeah.
365/4 or some bullshit. That's
just, like, made...
It made
like,
sense.
how do I say this?
It made sense when you actually had somebody spoil... It literally, the title of the game is a spoiler for what happens in the game, because it's like... It goes through a year of this one character's life, but there are 4 days missing. And that's why it's... Somebody explained it to me once, and I said, oh, that makes sense, actually. But I can't fucking remember.
If they were wanting to go that, you could have just called it, like, Kingdom Hearts, Missing 4, or something. Something that makes sense.
That's actually a good title.
Or, like, Kingdom Hearts, 365 -4.
Anyway, but... Okay, so... Kingdom Hearts 3... I swear to God, I saw the trailer for it. It's like, I'm not going to get excited. I'm not going to get excited. And then they do the music, and it's like...
Oh, it's that Disney magic. It's that...
And it's not just that. It's... Okay, there's going to be a Big Hero 6 level. In
Yep, I saw that. I was like, oh...
But here's where it gets even better. You know how in Kingdom Hearts it's kind of replays the story?
Yeah.
Not this time. This is actually going to be a direct... What happened directly after the movie of Big Hero 6.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so you saw Big Hero 6, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what this is going to be is that the Heartless find Baymax's old body floating in the void, and they're going to possess it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be actually kind of cool. And
kind of like the sequel to Big Hero 6.
And it's like, fuck you, Square. God damn it. Every time I get out, they pull me back in.
And it's one of those, because, like, I watched the trailer, and, like, sometimes the trailers are all, like, Disney magic, and it's like, oh, wow, it's great. And then there are other trailers where, like, you had those guys just, like, playing chess. I'm like, I don't know who those are.
But I'm thinking of the music one where they had the old music from Kingdom Hearts 1. It was like it's like stupid fucking J-pop, and I get so hype. And I don't want to get hype, but it's there. And
no, I feel the same way, because like I said, like, sometimes the trailers are just like, remember Kingdom Hearts 1? Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it for you.
Yes.
And then, like, there are other trailers where it's just like, yes, remember the Heartless character, such and such, his brother's ex-girlfriend's sister's mother.
Remember the character
she has a line in this game.
Remember the character whose name looks like a bad 12-year-old's Xbox Live gamer tag? Well, he's back.
It's like he's back along with his Heartless ex-brother's clone's sister. I'm just like, stop it. There was Sora, and there was Mickey Mouse, and Donald and Goofy were there. That's Kingdom Hearts. Give me the princess.
Have you ever thought how weird it is that Goofy is given full rights, but Pluto is a slave? What the fuck happened there?
Look, we don't talk about Disney that way in these parts of town.
Okay, so Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is confusing. Goddamn, am I looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Like, the biggest thing is, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 is, like, just around the corner. It's like, yeah, oh, by the way, also 2.8. You gotta play this one, too.
Again.
Before you can do 3. Stop. Just stop.
Okay, so, what else?
Final Fantasy 15. So, they had a little bit on this game, and this is a game that I'm actively looking forward to.
I can't play a Final Fantasy game anymore. My JRPG is SMT.
Well, I treat them as very different games.
I can't because the battle system in Final Fantasy has always just been so blah to me compared to SMT. It's so much more tactical in SMT. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the things, and I know we talked about, is SMT and all traditional, like, role, turn-based strategy games have this element where you have all the time in the world to make your move. And SMT demands that you make the right move.
Otherwise, you're fucked.
Yeah. Whereas Final Fantasy has moved away from that to a sort of active battle system where it's less about making the right move and more about the flow of the battle.
I've said this
because you have a lot more room for error because the game expects you to make a couple mistakes.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to care about a Final Fantasy game until they make a modern one and get away from the kind of weird aesthetic that they have and go back to the make the drawings from the old 2D Final Fantasy games, like the Final Fantasy VI. Make that aesthetic into 3D, and maybe then I'll care.
Yeah.
Because I want to fucking see those beautiful, like, watercolors.
I definitely would love to see, classic Final Fantasy design, but they've done that, a couple times before. And then, like, they really fucked up with 13. Everyone knows this. But 14 has been, thus far, really, really good.
After they had to reboot it.
Yeah, so after the reboot, but this is one game, 15. This is one game I'm actively looking forward to because I played the demo and I actually, after kind of seeing some of the footage, and they didn't really reveal too much about it, but I went back and played the original demo that came with Type 0.
AKA the reason most people got Type 0.
Type 0 is a good game.
It is not the reason most people got Type 0.
I didn't even know the demo was in there until I got it.
You are the exception to the rule.
Maybe that's the case, but I went back, I played Episode Dusk or whatever, and they've actually updated it a lot to better frame it the way it's going to be on the actual game. And a lot of the updates to it, a lot of the changes they made have been positive.
Alright, but
they fixed a lot of the frame rate issues that were what I was really worried about in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first played Episode Dusk, there were lots of sections where the game would be like, okay,
time to
count the pixels.
You see, the reason I guess I'm so nervous about this is because when I really started paying attention to Final Fantasy, it was right when Final Fantasy 13 came out.
Yeah.
And then the 14 came out, and around the same time, like Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 or whatever came out. So you've got two bad Final Fantasy games right out of the gate, and it's like, why should I play this series?
Oh yeah, and I'm the same way. Final Fantasy 13 was actually my first mainline Final Fantasy.
Holy shit, really?
Yep. I never owned a PlayStation up until that point, and I never owned any of the Nintendo Final Fantasies on the NES, and I didn't own a Super NES.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my first experience with Final Fantasy.
And yet you're still a fan.
No, I would not say I'm a fan. But after I did that, I did go back and I played 7.
Because of course you did.
Because it was one of those things, like, it's hard to be anything in video games and not play Final Fantasy VII.
I'm not. I don't care for it. I don't care for the idea of it.
And I think one of the big things holding back Final Fantasy VII is actually the big major spoiler that made Final Fantasy. Aerith dies. Everyone knows it. You can't talk about Final Fantasy without somebody showing up and it's like, remember when Aerith died? I cried. But it's like the biggest spoiler that no one feels bad about spoiling. And so...
I'd rather talk about the time Cloud got raped by a bunch of burly gay men.
But, yeah...
Because, Japan's really got good LGBT rights there.
Oh, you know it. Well, this game's got all dudes duding up. And that's actually one of the things I kind of actually like about this game.
There's really no, damsel character.
There is. I think it's centered all around the damsel character, actually.
Well, I mean, not in the immediate party that we've seen.
Yeah, well, it's not in the immediate party, but, the whole reason Noctis, the main character, is going on the quest is the girl he likes is kidnapped.
Oh. I just wanted
that bad trope aside, it is 4 guys just going on a bro venture.
That's more of what I wanted.
And that's sort of what, got me appealed to it when it first, was revealed as Final Fantasy 13 Versus.
Bro!
Because I remember, that and Final Fantasy 13, came out at the same time, and I played 13. A friend let me borrow it. I was like, well, this is really bad. But then, I saw, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, and I was like, hey, why didn't they just make this one? And so I've been following this game ever since. And my God, with this development time, it's one of those things where, if they fuck this up, that's the death of Final Fantasy.
Spoiler, they're gonna fuck it up.
But from what I played of the demo, I am actually hopeful that this may actually be a decent game.
They're gonna fuck it up so bad.
But yes, so that's...
What there's gonna be is that it's actually lightning.
It's actually lightning.
Lightning is the car.
The whole time, every character was secretly lightning.
Lightning?
Lightning.
Okay, so what's the next game on the list?
So the next one I got here, Monster Hunter X.
Monster Hunter Cross.
Yeah, so it's
Cross.
That's
Remember,
the technical pronunciation of it.
In Japan, it's not X, it's Cross.
It's Monster Hunter X.
Cross.
But yeah, so
this is supposed to be the big crossover of the Monster Hunter universe.
Yep. So that's kind of where the titular reference comes from. But from what I've seen, because they've actually started talking a lot more, and one of my big worries when they first revealed this is they talked about the weapons and how every weapon was going to get a super special fancy super move, which kind of scared me a little bit.
Why?
One of the things that made Monster Hunter really great was that it had this sort of based in reality combat system. Beyond the fact that all your weapons are huge and you swing these hammers, there was this visceralness to.
It's kind of based in reality, and you're swinging a hammer that is literally twice your size, and you're wearing armor that is, oh god, oh.
But part of it was the moves had weight to them. They had feel to them. There was drawbacks to every move. You had to be very... if you were going to use that big hammer, you literally could barely swing that hammer.
So you had to be good. Not get good, be good.
Yeah, you had to be good at that game. And it was very Dark Souls. And with the addition of super moves, it's kind of one of those things where, that's sort of getting old-ish. Because another thing I really like is the uniqueness of all the weapons. Because before this, there were weapons that had a sort of super move. an obvious one is the Greatsword had its triple charge swing, and the Gunlance had its Dragon Fire, which were, for all means, they were kind of super moves. But then you had, other weapons that didn't really have super moves, but they had something else that, they benefited from, like Sword and Shield, had the defensive to it. Same with just the regular lance. You had all the range benefit from long-range weapons like the bow or the light bow gun. And then you had, not really super moves, but, like the dual swords had the demon mode to them. But now with, every weapon having a super move, it kind of feels like they're homogenizing the combat. So that's not something I'm really looking forward to.
But you said something good from all this, remember?
Yes. So that was my fear. And looking towards it now, some of that's still there, but the other things I've seen, the way they're bringing it back to all the old games, a lot of the monsters and a lot of the way they're trying to balance the fact that, yes, now every weapon has a super cool move, has left me a lot more positive. And I'm not going to lie, I honestly just love Monster Hunter. Alright, that's a game where I've sunk hundreds of hours into, Freedom United. I've sunk hundreds of hours into 3. I've sunk hundreds of hours into 4. I am ready to sink hundreds of hours into Cross.
Only hundreds of hours? You scrub.
Only hundreds. I'm not that good.
You only just finished the tutorial.
That's kind of the case with a lot of these. You get done with the tutorial, as it were.
And you're 99 hours in it.
Yeah, which is the best part of Monster Hunter. It's oh, yes, you're 100 hours in, and now the real game begins, and it's great. It is great.
All right, so next one.
So we have Dragon Quest Heroes, the Dynasty Warriors Dragon Quest game.
I'm actually really excited about this. I really like Dragon Quest, and I like the idea of Dynasty Warriors because I've always felt like the best way to play, the best thing for a game would be to have a hero go up against lots of little minions and just kill them.
Yep.
I always love that. And
then this isn't the first time that, the team behind this, I'm trying to remember, Omega Force, which is a branch of Tecmo, I think.
They're the ones who make the Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah, it's the Dynasty Warrior team, and this isn't the first time they've crossed over with the series. Not the first at all. A recent one, Hyrule Warriors, and now they're making Hyrule Warriors Legends. There was the Gundam. I forgot the Gundam. There was a One Piece one. There were a lot of Japanese-only ones.
So it's. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to it. The review, it's released in Japan already. The reviews have been good for it. It is actually the top-selling game, the second best, highest top-selling game for the PS4 that wasn't bundled with the PS4. They love their Dragon Quest a lot.
Well, that's another thing. Japan still has a lot of love for Dragon Quest.
It's still a
While
lot.
Here in America, Dragon Quest is kind of
niche.
Been forgotten.
It's niche. It's always been kind of niche.
Yeah, it's not something that has been sellable, I guess, is the big thing.
Well,
because a lot of the games are missing for American release just because they didn't profit. Let's just put it that way. They didn't make money.
Well, it's still a law in certain prefectures of Japan that these games have to be released on a weekend because there were too many people fucking skipping school and work.
And that's one of the big differences. In Japan, there are 3 big RPG franchises.
Final Fantasy was never even as big as Dragon Quest.
Well, that's sort of what I'm getting to. There's kind of three, and in the West, the only one we really know about is Final Fantasy. But Japan, it's not quite as big. Instead, there's SMT, Shin Megami Tensei, which has a niche following here. A lot of that's based around Persona love, where in Japan they really love SMT, the core mainline series. And then there's Dragon Quest, which is, so much of Japanese culture revolves around
anytime you see
Dragon Quest.
Anytime you see a video game parody in an anime, it is a Dragon Quest parody.
Yep,
specifically.
So it's pretty much always like either Dragon Quest or Monster Hunter. Because that's also huge.
And Monster Hunter is new. It's the new kid on the block compared to Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Dragon Quest has been around.
I still love the fact that it's like the same basic three guys. The music designer, the story writer, and the artist are like the same three guys.
Yep, like Akira Toriyama's been there for the long haul.
Which actually, okay, here's a fact.
Akira Toriyama being the guy behind Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Which most people here would know for.
It's just a little thing.
You know.
Compared to Dragon Quest, it literally is just a little thing.
Yeah. But Japan, anyway.
Yeah. But, Akira Toriyama, okay. The designer, the writer of the stories, is a big gambler. Which is why there's always a casino in Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
And Akira Toriyama, I'm not sure if you know this, but his favorite fetish is bunny girls.
Yes, I know all about that.
Which, if you've seen Dragon Ball at all, or if you've played any Dragon Quest game, there's always a bunny girl costume.
Yep.
And it is actually always the best costume for female characters.
Yep.
Like, it is like head and shoulders.
It's tradition at this point.
Yes, that the bunny girl costume be better.
Yep.
It's almost a little sad, but you know what? If Quentin Tarantino can get away with putting his foot fetish in every one of his movies, I'm serious. Watch one of his movies again and count how many times you see the main female character's feet.
No. I know all about Quentin Tarantino and his love of the feet.
God, this has got really creepy again. We should have saved this for the beginning of the summer lesson. Okay, what's the next one,
but
please?
that's Dragon Age Heroes. It's PS4.
PS4.
Yeah, it's exclusive, right?
PS4 exclusive in the United States, PS3 in Japan.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm looking forward to it, actually.
I am too. That's kind of why I'm actually thinking about getting a PS4.
And so the last one...
is it the last one, or is there more?
That's the last one we pulled out. So, Capcom announces first-person shooter Resident Evil Umbrella Corps.
It's not like they haven't done this before.
So, Capcom is making a competitive first-person shooter based on Resident Evil. And when I first heard this news, I was kind of like, skeptical. Oh great, they want Call of Duty dollars.
Call of Duty.
Please stop. And then I saw a little bit of the gameplay, and I was a little less...
And to be fair, they've made first-person shooters before.
Yeah,
None of them have been good.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing. Like, I've seen their first-person shooters, and nobody likes Resident Evil 5 or 6 or...
It's not 5 or 6. It's what is it? Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah, well, that was their true first-person shooter, but
it's bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But in this one, I'm actually a bit more optimistic. One of the things they do for this game is the maps you're fighting on. Mm-hmm. You're fighting, it's a team of like 3 versus another team of 3 or 3 or 4 or however many. But just sprawled along the map are just zombies. They're just kind of there. And, the zombies will attack you and will get in your way. And you can hide behind the zombies and you can, and I'm sure they're going to do more things because from what I saw, the zombies were kind of a little flaccid, if you will. They kind of just stood there. And only attacked like if you stood like right next to them for a couple seconds. But if they are smart enough to look at that element and say, hey, we could really do something with that, they could actually make a really good game out of this. And the other thing, it seems like it's got a lot more lethality to it. Lethality.
I thought you said leafyality.
Yes, there's a lot of leaves in this game. Lethality, almost sort of like the Rainbow Six Siege kind of feel to it. Not so much, one shot does not kill you, but you go down pretty fast. And it's got a lot more tactical to it, because like once you're down, you don't respawn. You have to wait for the next game. So it's basically one squad versus the other, and there's a lot more teamwork that comes out of that just from watching people play it.
Which will not be there at all in the online version.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like it facilitates it a lot more than traditional Call of Duty, where if you die, you just get back up, right? Mm-hmm. Where in this one, like, it's a lot smarter to work with your team a little bit more. Similar to the way Rainbow Six Siege, they had their beta recently, and I've been watching that, and I haven't seen a whole lot of matches where the one player just kind of runs off and is like, I'm Rambo, I got this.
Well, to be fair, not Spec Ops, Rainbow Six has always been more about that.
Well, the reason it's more about that has a lot to do with the design, mainly just that kind of like, when you get shot, you are dead. And so working together with a team, covering each other's backs is the optimal way to do things.
Yes, it is.
And so there's always going to be the player who thinks he knows what he's doing and screw the team, but I'm a little more hopeful. And so this could actually be good.
We'll see.
On the other hand, Capcom.
Yeah. To be fair, Capcom's getting better.
Yeah. I mean, at least now they're better than Mighty 9.
Yes, they can say they're better now. They're not Cap God yet, but they can be again.
Because have you seen the Mighty 9 demo they released?
I have no interest in Mega Man, so I don't care.
Oh. Long story short, it's pretty bad. What should have been, the new Mega Man for the next generation is starting to look more like bad game for the next generation.
Well.
So, oops. Hope you didn't fund that Kickstarter.
Like you did.
I did not. So, no, that was one I stayed away from.
Anyway, so, I think that's all of Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, not everything, but with all the stuff we are personally interested in.
Yeah, so there are other things. Obviously, you can Google Tokyo Game Show. There's a lot of other coverage, but those were the big things we wanted to talk about.
I think that's just about everything, and we're about 2 hours in.
Yeah. 45. So
there's one other thing I did this weekend that I'd like to talk about.
Yes,
and it kind of ties back in with the music as well and the RPG stuff. I started seeing a lot of good things about this game that came out called Undertale.
Yes, I've seen a lot about this game.
I've seen a lot of good things about this game. And I've been getting annoyed with one of my friends, and he's like, you just play the demo. I'll be like, yeah, I'll play the demo, and I'll still dislike it. Well, I played the demo, and fuck me, I actually didn't think it was that bad.
He likes it.
And the best way I can describe it, without spoiling anything, is that it's a better version of Spec Ops The Line.
Yeah.
Okay, because you know how in Spec Ops The Line, it's all, you bastard, look what you did.
Yeah, it's the guilt trip, the game.
Despite the fact that they didn't give you a choice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can either be a terrible person or you can not play the game.
Well, this one actually gives you a choice. This is more a denouncement of RPGs and of RPG, specifically RPG save scumming.
Yes.
Because in the demo, it remembers everything you've done when you've save scummed. There's a character who says, hey, I remember he's like the one that teaches you the battle mechanic. The battle mechanic is actually kind of a cool, almost top-down dodge type of thing. You dodge their attacks. And he says, "Hey, nice meeting you again," before he starts the tutorial. And if you play it enough, it's like, you know what this is. Just stop. And then at the end of the game, he's like, "Oh, hey, so you beat the game and you didn't kill anybody," because this is the thing. You don't have to kill anybody. You can talk to them. You can... It's almost SMT-ish, and you can talk to the monsters, but you have to, like, talk to them a specific way. Like, one guy is... You examine him. He doesn't like being teased about his eye. Don't tease him about his eye. He's like, "Oh, finally, thank you." And then he just goes off in his merry way. And some of them you have to get rid of all the other monsters because he's hanging out with a bad crowd. So if you get rid of all the other monsters, he doesn't attack you, and then he leaves the next turn.
Yeah. So it has this kind of like, you could kill everyone, but you don't have to. And it's not always easy to not kill everyone.
Well, the thing is, it's really easy to kill everybody because you get super overpowered super fast.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big thing. Like, it's a lot faster to kill things. Not so easy to not kill things.
But if you don't, you're a better person.
Yep.
So I still don't like that kind of finger wagging. How dare you kill things in a video game? But I think this is a better way of doing it. And it's just one of the characters you can kill at the end of the demo is... You will feel like a bad person if you do this. You have to really you have to really be kind of sociopathic.
Yeah.
And divorce yourself completely from this character. And if you go back and reload it, because obviously you're not a bad person, you just wanted to see what would happen. The character I mentioned fucking calls you out. You just wanted to see what happened, didn't you, you fucking psycho? He even calls out, in the main game, he even calls out LPers, people who watch it. Yeah. And there's some people who just don't have the balls to do it. These freaks watch other people do it.
Oh, that's funny.
And it is really... And the music is really good. Like, super actually good.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I had to actually eat my words and maybe consider buying it. Yeah, it hurts. So if you've got some money... It's a cheap game. It's like $10. So if you got some money, you can buy it and, maybe do another...
If nothing else, there's a demo. Play the demo.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so I guess...
And there's one more other thing about it.
Yes.
There's 2 characters in it. It actually is also really funny because there's a character in it named Papyrus and his brother Sans. Do you get the joke yet?
No.
They're Fonts. And guess what they speak in?
What?
They're Fonts. And you date Papyrus, I think.
Yeah.
You date a skeleton.
Those spooky skeletons.
And there's actually a restaurant in the main game, apparently, where the restaurant is owned by a living fireball. And there's a fire exit, and you click on the door, and it goes, "You cannot go out this way because you are not on fire." Because it's a fire exit.
That's clever. That's funny.
So it's like, okay, yeah.
You got me. You got the chuckle.
You got me. I'll have to play it. Okay, so next time, voice actors.
Next time, so we'll keep you posted with the voice actors if the strike happens or if it
even
doesn't.
If it doesn't, it's another design element we can talk about.
Yep. So that will come up. We've talked about a couple of design elements that we might, the JRPG. So we are trying to bring back that little segment there. I think it's interesting. I hope you guys think it's interesting. I guess the next thing, what are you gonna do with the next week? I'm
gonna be playing some Dragon Age, and if my finances clear, I will be getting a Destiny PS4 and maybe start playing that, and maybe give you a little sketch view of what I think of it so far.
So, all right, so Destiny. I'm putting down Super Mario Maker. I am picking up a spooky game. I'm going to play Spooky's House of Jump Scares. maybe some other spooky titles
Spoopy.
because this is probably, from the looks of it, it's actually pretty short. I could probably get it done in a couple hours.
Not quite. There's 1,000 rooms.
I've seen a little bit of it. You can get through the rooms pretty fast, in less than a minute for each room.
Okay.
So, unless things get too spooky,
they actually do start to get kind of
so
spooky.
don't spoil it. All I've seen is the little demo. That's a cute little demo. Or not demo trailer, but
it doesn't stay cute.
that's kind of the gist I've figured out. But so I'll play that.
Maybe some solo?
I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play Metal Gear Revengeance. Like I said, as Spooky Scary Month goes on, I will be playing possibly other spooky games.
Oh, I remembered what I was gonna do when I get home. Possibly, I'm actually gonna go to the Humble Bundle. They have Skullgirls on the Humble Bundle at the moment.
Oh, all right. Do you know what price range the Skullgirls is at?
I do not know. That's why I'm going to check when I get home. There's also another game on the Humble Bundle that they might be. Humble Bundle. Let's take a look see at it.
Humble Bundle, Indie Bundle. That's probably it.
Let's see. They got.
Yes, so pay more than the average is the Skullgirls plus all DLC.
Skullgirls, Planetary Annihilation, Xenonauts.
Oh.
And
Gang Beasts.
Oh.
$10.
Okay, fuck you. I'm gonna be putting in $11. Fuck.
So they actually have some decent games because I know obviously Skullgirls is probably worth the value, and then Gang Beasts. I've seen a little bit about that. I've played a little bit about that. That's a good game.
Okay, fuck it. I'm going. Okay. That's what I'm doing when I get home. Do they accept debit cards?
Yeah, so I bought some with my debit cards. They also, if you haven't ever played some other games, the weekly bundle right now, they have Fez, Hotline Miami, and Loof Razors. 3 games
Not Fez. No, thank you.
Well,
Not after what the developer said. No.
Divorce it from the developer, and it's not a terrible game.
Divorce it from the developer is kind of hard.
I mean, it's not as bad as divorcing it from, say, Kojima and Metal Gear. That you just can't do. But at $8, probably worth it just for Hotline Miami and Loof Razors.
Fair enough. This is actually a really cute amiibo. I'm looking at his Captain Olimar amiibo. I actually really like this one.
You can go online now and buy it for the low scalper price of more than retail.
I would, for a second, I thought you were going to say you can have it. I was going to fucking slap you upside the head. Okay, so I think that's about it.
Yep, so until next week.
Bye.
Bye.